The X Zone Radio Show is heard on radio broadcast affiliates worldwide, including
AM 580 CFRA in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
WPUL AM 1590 in Daytona Beach, Florida.
KOHI AM 1610 in St. Helens, Oregon.
KHRO AM 1150 in El Paso, Texas. And for more information on becoming a professional broadcast affiliate of the X Zone Radio Show, visit
www.xzbn.net
or call toll-free worldwide
1-800-610-7035.
The X Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, for all of you wondering around the world saying, where is Hamilton, Ontario? Well, what you do is get a hold of Google Maps, that'll work, or it's on Lake Ontario, and find the city of Toronto, which is the Queen City for the province of Ontario. It's our capital city here in the province. Mind you, the capital city for the entire country is in Ottawa, both here in Ontario. But anyway, Toronto is the capital for the province of Ontario. It's on Lake Ontario. Now, just follow the lake along until you see Niagara Falls. Now, we are right in between Toronto and Niagara Falls on Lake Ontario, smack dab in the middle of the Great Lakes Triangle. If you'd like to give us a call, worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv at hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Douglas J. Fisichella, and he began his studies of metaphysics and world religions in his early 20s, having been raised in a household without domestic assertions about religion. He wasn't subjected to the usual insistence of one specific faith. Now, his father was one of the country's foremost proponents of esoteric science. He was also a student of the world's religion and a biblical scholar. This early exposure to the open study of various religious systems left its impact in a non-judgmental and assimilating attitude towards all spiritual teachings. Joining me now is Doug Fisichella. And Doug, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you, Rob. It's great to be here.
All right, Doug, tell the X Zone Nation who your dad was.
His name was Anthony J. Fisichella, and through the 70s and 80s and into the 90s, he was a lecturer and a speaker. He wrote a book, and I believe it was first published in 1984, as Metaphysics, the Science of Life, and that went through like 8 printings while he was touring nationally and internationally speaking. He retired from a lot of the active speaking when he moved down into Florida, But he spent the last 10 years of his life putting all of that he had learned through his study and meditation into a series of books that he titled One Solitary Life, about the unity of all being. And he explained where he came from, a little bit about his journey, some deep metaphysical principles. And the third book is titled The Christ Epic, and that is an analogy of, or an analysis of the New Testament, looking at it with its mystical symbolism and tying it together with the esoteric principles that a lot of people think really reside outside of religion. He was able to unify the two and talk in terms of the evolution of consciousness and the evolution of the soul throughout humanity.
Doug, stand by. You and I have to take a commercial break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. X-Zone Nation, Douglas Fisichella is our special guest. www.higher-ground.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled lite.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
1-800-610-7035, worldwide toll free. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. Our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Doug Fisichella is our special guest, higher-ground.com. And Doug, what brought you into the world of metaphysics? What was your reason for getting into it?
Well, it's kind of twofold. When I was a kid, I was surrounded by it, with my father running a place called the New Age Center on Long Island, where I grew up. We were surrounded by the teachings and by his students constantly, events going on, being down at the center as a kid, little workshops that we would do and all of that. So I was introduced to it. I was taught how to meditate before I was 10. I was introduced into transcendental meditation at around 12. But I was given the tools, and I was never really required or asked to do anything with them. It was, when the urge comes, you'll have the tools, the ability to meditate. And I would use it for some relaxation and that kind of thing, but I was not a serious student, although I did read some religious texts in my 20s, the Bhagavad Gita and things like that. I wasn't really serious about my studies until after my father passed away, and then it fell to me to make sure that the books got published, and I wanted to be more of an expert on what he was dealing with than just an expert on my dad. Everybody's an expert on their father, and I could talk about my father. But I wanted to study the source materials that he came up with his theories and his interpretation from. And between studying his work and mastering a 15-hour lecture series that he had given, reading the books and editing the books, it got me deeper into this than I ever thought that I would be. And now I'm studying with the Arcane School in New York that was started by Alice Bailey, that my father studied with in the 70s. And I'm also teaching at the Metaphysical Research Society out here in Denver. So I was introduced to it very early on, so that I was comfortable with it, and later, after my father passed away, I felt that responsibility. So I got deeper and deeper into it, and now it's something that I can't ever see stopping. I enjoy the teaching. I feel I'm helping people. I love the studying. I read every day, and it's really brought a dramatic change in my life that I don't know that anything else would have been capable of doing.
Tell me about Metaphysics 101.
Well, Metaphysics 101 is a book that I'm writing right now. It's going to be a companion to the classes that I'm teaching. The classes were originally designed by my father and called The Well of Wisdom. I renamed them Metaphysics 101 because it's so inviting. It as, anything 101 is the basics. And a metaphysician, an esotericist, a philosopher, we're all self-taught. But there's an intimidating aspect to the teachings themselves. And if you can't understand and read people like Madame Blavatsky, my father was there. And if he's still a little bit complex, which some of his writing is very easy to understand, but he gets into very, very abstract principles, I feel like I'm able to bring them down even further to a level that's easier to understand for people. So through the teaching, I had to write and create syllabus for each class and everything. So I had this outline, and I decided, why not create a book from it, write it in my own words with my own examples, which is what I'm doing with the classes, taking the same principles and then teaching them in my own way. And people tell me that I have a clarity about the way I teach and that I'm capable of relating those things in a manner that they can understand. So I figured the next step would be to write the book, and I've started serious work on doing that as well.
Why do you think so many people today in the year 2010 are turning to metaphysics, New Age philosophy?